The search is intensifying tonight for the people behind the death of a Capitol police officer during that violent siege this week. Flags at the U.S. Capitol lowered to half staff in honor of Officer Brian Sicknick. He's the fifth person to die in connection with the protests and riot. Authorities say he was injured while physically engaging with rioters who stormed the building Wednesday. They're now investigating his death as a homicide. This comes as we're seeing new video from inside the Capitol as rioters force their way inside. NewsNation correspondent Brian Enton live for us in Washington, D.C. tonight with that part of the story. Brian?
Joe, law enforcement officials say finding the rioters has become a 24/7 operation with 3 command centers. This as we are getting a new look at just how violent the riot was and how dangerous it was for the police officers. New disturbing video that shows the horror Capitol and D.C. police went through. Rioters punch and try to remove police officers' gas masks. The enormous group pushes to get inside. And that's when you see a police officer get crushed in the doorway. There's blood coming from his mouth. This is one of the more than 50 officers injured during the riot. Late Thursday night, officers lined the streets around the Capitol, paying respect to Officer Brian Sicknick. Capitol Police say Sicknick was injured while engaging protesters. He was reportedly hit in the head with a fire extinguisher. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are calling for an investigation into how the mob was able to overtake law enforcement.
Those are all going to be questions we're going to continue to ask, and then, kind of like what they did after 9/11, figure out what we need to do.
This shall never happen again. We've lost our will and our determination to stand up for law and order. And when you let a courthouse be attacked and nobody gets prosecuted, the next thing you know, it gets worse.
And the prosecutions have begun. The Department of Justice has charged 13 people. They come from states including Arkansas, Alabama, Maryland, Florida, Virginia, Illinois, and Pennsylvania, and face charges like making interstate threats, entering a restricted building, violent entry, disorderly conduct, and carrying a firearm on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol. Richard Barnett, the man seen with his foot up on a desk at the Capitol, is in custody. You see him here turning himself into police in Arkansas. And West Virginia State Legislator Derek Evans, who live-streamed storming the Capitol, was also arrested Thursday.
I think that we have Republicans and Democrats are going to come together and remove Mr. Evans from office.
And tonight, the FBI is still looking for the person who put pipe bombs at both the Republican National Committee and the Democratic National Committee here in Washington, D.C. Live in Washington, D.C., Brian Enton, NewsNation.